Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and showing you a bit of how to play Deja Vu Fragments of Memory. Now, this was a game that I kickstarted because I thought it looked absolutely gorgeous. And, I mean, if you're looking at this box, I'm sure you can tell. I mean, the art is really nice in this. So this is a game by Terry Chung. I'm not sure if you can make that out. It's written very faintly on the bottom of the box there. It was published by Asteria Board Game Creation. And it is a game for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and listed as 45 to 90 minutes. So this is a game with kind of like an anime sort of feel and theme to it, where you are spirits helping this girl who has lost her memory to travel the cosmos and regain all of her memory fragments. So now for 2 to 4 players, it actually plays pretty well, equally well at the different player counts. 10 and up seems like a pretty good estimate to me. It's got enough meat that you wouldn't meat to sink your teeth into that you wouldn't want to maybe teach this to someone younger. And the 45 to 90 minutes is actually, again, a pretty good estimate. So I really don't have a huge amount to talk about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open the box and show you some of the components here. So now I got some extra components because I kickstarted this, like this pretty space mat here, which I'm not sure, I don't think comes with the standard one if you were to buy it in a store. I got a Nameless Girl's Odyssey. It's a background story. Again, this was like a stretch goal. And then we've got the rule book. Now, I would say the rule book was pretty good. There's it's full color, lots of pictures, lots of diagrams. There were a few bits that were a bit wordy and took me a little bit to understand, so it's not the best rule book I've ever read, but it's certainly not the worst. It's definitely adequate, and I don't have any severe complaints to talk about with the rule book, and it's very pretty. Next, we have some rules for some of the little expansions and alternate rules for like a co-op game and a solo game. Again, I think these were really just because it was a Kickstarter. And then we have something I want to draw attention to. It's a very nice insert with a place for everything. I really like the improvements that have been made in recent years as game companies put out these games in their inserts. So a lot of the pieces are these cardboard punch-out pieces that are two-sided, where one side is this kind of dark blue, purplish space side, while the other side is this lighter color, more ethereal side, and you can choose which side to use for them. I like the darker sides myself. The board is going to be made up of those tiles. You'll see more of those when we bring them out. There's lots of these cardboard punch-out tokens, which these ones are flowers. But when it comes to cardboard punch-out tokens, I mean, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. You got some fairly basic but functional point ones. They just are one color in the background, one color for the number, and they are just diamond-shaped point tokens. Not a whole lot to talk about there. Then we've got these nice wooden pieces, the memory fragments, which look like all different colors and all different shapes. There's a purple circle, for instance, and here is a blue droplet. You're going to be seeing a lot of these out on the table when I'm showing you how to play, and it all makes sense because those are used as resources to pay for your cards. And then you have the cards, which the cards are a nice, there's it feels like a glossy finish to the cards, and the artwork on them is absolutely gorgeous. I love the look of these cards. There's so many cool pictures, and I love the fact that the cards fit together to form these big illustrations. So yeah, definitely love the aesthetic of these cards. No complaints from me on the artwork of this game. So I'm gonna now, without any further ado, because that's most of the rest of the game is really just the cards and then those tiles, which well, a lot of those tiles look very, very similar. I'm gonna take you over to the table, and we're gonna run you through a few rounds, show you the gist of how to play Deja Vu Fragments of Memory, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna talk about how this game feels. I'm gonna rate it and review it, and we're gonna get a second opinion from Lynn. Okay, so we're about to start a game of Deja Vu, but the first part of the setup is actually kind of part of the game. So you pick a random tile after shuffling them up and put it out in the middle of the table with the Lost Girl meeple on it. And then you each draw 2 tiles from the random tile stack, each player does, and you start by placing them with a couple of restrictions. When you place tiles, you must place points to sides, and you must always have every tile touching 2 other tiles. You can place your 2 tiles at the same time to achieve this, or you can place them one at a time. But of course, the first person to place will have to place them at the same time to be able to make it work. So I'm just going to do that real quick here by placing them there. But now Lynn could place them possibly one at a time, rather than placing them at the same time, see, because she can make that one touch 2 different things there. And again, there. And those are both legal placements. So we're going to be right back after we now complete the full and total setup, and then we're going to show you how it plays. Okay, so we've completed the setup here. After fully placing out the board, we placed 4 of these wooden impression bits randomly on each tile, and 1 random one of the memory fragments. Yes, the memory fragments on each tile. Thanks for reminding me there. Then we laid out the public impression cards. Now in a 2-player game, we just use the ones that have the gold back. In a 3 or more players, you would get to also use the silver back and therefore have a second group of these white ones. I do really like how these fit together to make a picture. The other different color ones do as well. And these public objectives are for each of the different colors and fit into their tableaus to make pictures as well. Then after laying all of those on out, you shuffle the regular impression cards into a deck and place them out. You place the memory hive out on the table. Then everyone takes 1 nameless girl card, or really like a cardboard chit, if you will, and places it out in front of yourself, which has lots of reminders on your starting abilities, on the fact that you can hold 1 extra piece on it and that you're going to eventually be able to grow flowers on it and ways to get points. It's got a lot of little reminders on it. And then everyone draws 5 of the impression cards for the deck, chooses 3 to keep, and discards the other 2 face down, because your starting hand size is in fact 3. And then at that point, we are ready to begin the game. Now, Lynn is going to start us off, and the first phase is the planting flower phase, but that is optional. Are you going to be doing that on your first turn?
No, okay. I don't have a flower to plant.
Then we skip on to the Recollection Phase, which is where you get to do the Mancala engine. Yes. So Lynn will pick up all of the memory fragments, and she drops them off Mancala-esque, not being allowed to backtrack or circle around and go on spaces she's already been. And wherever the last one she places, she gets to take all the memory fragments of the same color, in this case the pink ones, and gets to try to use them. That is all of the same color regardless of shape. So now for using them, she can either spend them for the cost in the upper left-hand corner of these public cards, but only if she can fully make them, or she can spend them for the cost of the cards in her hand, either to fully make and put them on the right of her girl token here, or on the left if she can only do it partially and maybe complete them later. And then the last thing you can do is you can discard any 3 of them to grow a flower and put it on her nameless girl token there. So what are you going to do?
I'm going to build this card.
Oh, you have the exact ones.
Fully and completely.
Oh, nice. So let's see it happen. So the first thing it needs is a moon, and you got that.
And a circle, and then a lightning bolt. And the teardrop I'm going to put on my little chest.
To save it. The chest to save for later.
Yes.
So now that you have fully completed that, you get to get... Now, not only did you complete it, but you completed a pink card with pink memory fragments, which means you get a point for each memory fragment that matches the color of the card. That is 3 bonus points right away. Well done. And then put those off to the side. So now that you have constructed it, we've moved through the Recollection Phase, and that's the Deja Vu phase. So the next thing is the meditation, which is the cleanup. So during this point, you will take all of the memory fragments you used, that you spent, and you'll put them in the hive. So the 3 of those go in the hive. Later on, if the hive gets full, you get to place them back out on the board, and that's how you replenish the board. So now, are you all finished there?
Yes.
So did you want to discard any of the cards from your hand, and then you get to draw back up to your full hand size?
No, I'm going to keep my card.
So now the new card you added to your tableau there, that allows you...
It allows me to have 1 extra thing in the making over here.
Ah, okay, that is what it is. So you're going to keep those, but how many cards do you have in your hand?
I have 2.
So you get to draw 1. Okay, so your Lynn is all done. So now it is my turn. Okay, so I am Also not going to plant a flower because I don't even have any flowers yet, but I am going to choose, I'm going to move right on to the recollection phase. I'm going to choose this space here, and I'm going to pick them up and drop one there. I'm going to drop one there, one here, and then this green lightning bolt here, which allows me to pick up all of these lovely green memory fragments, which I'm going to take back, and I'm going to instantly build as well. This card here, which as you can see requires a green lightning bolt, a lightning bolt, a teardrop, and a star regardless of color, but I do get bonus points if they are green, if they match the color of the card. So I'm going to place it over here to the right. I have the lightning bolt, the water droplet, and the star, so that is totally built. The last one I'm going to place in my chest to hold on to as well. I'm going to push these off to the side, and then I am going to discard the 3 of them into the memory hive as well. And I'm also going to keep the cards I have, but I'm going to draw one more up to a full hand. All right, so you're picking that space to move from, huh?
Yes. And I'm going to go...
Ooh, which way?
1.
Okay.
2.
Mm-hmm.
3. 4. And I'm going to pick up those 2 pinks.
Okay.
And immediately build with my lightning bolt and my circle.
Did you make a connection there with those sequential numbers?
They are not.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. So what we mean by sequential numbers is that the cards have numbers in the bottom corners here, and if you build with sequential numbers, the pictures will match up, and you actually will get bonus points for that. So so what numbers are those?
It's a 1 and a 5.
Oh, oh no, it goes 1 to 7 matches up because you do it in reverse. I got it. Okay. So all right, so discard those, and
but I do get 2 victory points because there was
2 pinks. Very nice. Here's your 2 victory points. And
did you get a victory point for yours?
Oh, I forgot to take mine. Thank you for reminding me. I should have gotten 3 because I actually used all green. So I took my 3 now. No. Now, are you discarding any?
No, I'm gonna keep them.
Okay. I'm going to choose this one here, and I'm going to go. Whoops. 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and then the yellow one back on here. So I'm going to take the 2 moons, the water droplet, and because I now have a question mark, the question mark ability in my tableau allows me to also take 1 white wild memory fragment. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that, and then I'm going to instant build for, let's see, for a moon and a water droplet of yellow. I'm going to instant build this card here. It is a yellow card that allows me to hold 1 extra of the memory fragments between rounds. So I will get to put this white one I just took on there, which is always useful to have wilds being held between rounds. And I'm going to get rid of the green one I've got there actually, and I'm going to save this yellow moon instead, and I'll discard that there. Now I did use 2 yellows, so that will give me 2 more points. I'm going to take the 2 points, and I'm going to discard 1 card, and now I'm going to draw 2 more back up to my full hand size of 3. One, 2, 3, and 4. And you get a lot of purples, don't you?
Then I am going to instantly build this one, which needs a circle, a lightning bolt, and a teardrop.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to, I forget what it's called, the start to build.
Progressive build,
yes.
I believe it's called, yes.
That one with the lightning bolt.
Okay, and you fully built the other one there?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I get 3 more victory points for that?
Yes, because they are all the same color. Here you go. Here's some 3 victory points there. And there you have it.
Oh, and that gives me one more card in my hand.
So you get to draw up to...
Actually, I'm going to discard my last one.
4 cards
draw
now.
4.
Very nice. That's a good ability. The extra hand card, always good.
Oh, I drew a card that I already have.
Oh, so you get to discard that and draw a replacement. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to take from here. And I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, landing here and taking these 3 pieces there. I'm going to use an instant build on this green card here. I'm going to use a yellow moon, so that will not get me a bonus point there, but I will use a green star and a green water droplet, which will in fact get me bonus points. So I will get 2 bonus points total for that one. That's going to be it for me. I'm going to save my other 2 pieces. I'm going to discard these 3. These are going to fill up with an extra one there. So I'm going to get my bonus 3 points. There we go. And this gives me an extra hand size. So first thing I got to do is reseed. So when you reseed, you take all of the tokens from the hive and you have to place them out randomly. So you mix them up in your hand. And you place them out randomly, first starting with the empty spaces. So I'm going to randomly take one for this empty space, one for this empty space, one for that empty space, and I think that's all the empty spaces. And now I do ones with only 1 on them to kind of help equalize the number of tokens on each space on the board. Like so. And then, yes, over there. Thank you. And then the ones with 2. Oh, nope. Yes, the ones with 2 on them. So this has 2, this has 2, this has 2. Whoops.
That was the one you had.
That was the one I dropped.
Yeah.
This has 2, this has 2, this has 2, this one has 2, and I'm out of tokens. And this is how the game plays. You keep going and collecting pieces to be able to buy your cards until someone has 10 cards in their long-term memory, which is the tableau to the right of their Lost Girl card. Because once they have 10, every other opponent gets 1 more turn and the game ends. And then you count up points. Now the cards are all worth points on the cards. You get bonus points, of course, if you spent the right color, or you get bonus points always for using white memory fragments. And then in addition, you will get 3 bonus points if you manage to link up cards that are adjacent. So for instance, if I had managed to build this public card right here, and I put it in next to the 2 that I had, it would make a continuing picture. Let me show that here. Like so. And that would be worth an extra 3 bonus points. In addition, a lot of the public ones over here have symbols on them that allow you to, if you collect sets, certain sets of these tokens, which you do later by growing flowers and then moving the girl around and collecting them, and then having that card, they will get you lots of bonus points. Or in the case of cards like this, which have allow you to get lots of points for having lots of cards in your tableau of the same color. At the end of the game, you count up all your points, and whoever has the most points wins the game of Deja Vu. So now let's head back over, and we're going to talk about how this game feels and how it plays, and we're going to rate it and review it. Okay, welcome back. So that was how you can play a game of Deja Vu Fragments of Memory. You're going to need to read the rule book in addition to watching that, but it hopefully gives you a general idea of how you play the game. Now, so Deja Vu. All right. So first off, the main mechanic, we have to address the elephant in the room. The main mechanic is obviously very much lifted from Five Tribes. If you've played Five Tribes and you're watching this, you're like, oh, this is like an alteration of Five Tribes. Yes, they borrowed that whole Mancala mechanic that they had in Five Tribes, even sticking with the very similar alterations that they had made in Five Tribes, but made some more alterations themselves. So that's definitely a thing. Now, I have to talk about a downside here. So we were playing on a tablecloth, which is, in my opinion, the best way to play this game because there's the least amount of movement on the tiles. Now, we've played it on a plain table, and we've played it on the game mat that I got. And in both cases, the tiles slide around way too much. Because when the tiles are, there's nothing really holding them in place, and they're meant to be touching point to a side like they do, what happens is they'll slide and you wind up with tiles that were originally touching, now aren't, and you're like, oh wait, was that supposed to be touching there? And you have tiles that weren't touching that then are. I mean, it happens a lot when playing this game on other surfaces. So that is a big negative I have to talk about, because whereas in 5 Tribes you have the board and you randomly set up where all the things are on the board, so you know everything that's touching it because it's all adjacent to it, it can be a bit more confusing in this, and that can be very frustrating. So I did really want to draw attention to that. That seems like the sort of mechanic that should have been like the first thing to go during playtesting, and for some reason didn't, and made it into the game. And it didn't occur to me when I kickstarted it that might be a problem. And then my first game of it, there was a lot of, wait a minute, didn't those two pieces used to be connected? And now they're not. So that continued on just about every game I played until I figured out to put a damn tablecloth underneath it to keep them from sliding around. But even then, there could be some movement. It's just that there's less movement on a nice tablecloth. Okay, so as for the Mancala aspect, it does feel very similar to how it is in 5 Tribes. Even doing the very different board doesn't really change it that much. The bigger difference is the way that it's not just different colors, it's also different shapes that you then use to pay for the cards. And the cards are where this game differs from 5 Tribes quite a bit, because you're collecting the cards to get extra special abilities, and then you're also trying to connect the pictures and make these big panorama pictures, which is really cool and is actually one of my favorite parts. I really like that the panoramas will connect from the highest number also back to the lowest number, so there's multiple ways. It's like a circle, not just a straight line. And but now to a negative again, there's a lot of public cards that can be purchased by anyone, though they are difficult to purchase and usually don't purchase them until later in the game. And while there are some that are the most sought after ones, which are if you're collecting a certain color, they give you bonus points for having lots of cards of that color, there's also those ones for picking up the memory fragments. And the memory fragments is almost feels like a completely different game that's kind of shoved into here. It's just an extra way to get bonus points. Eventually, you will use some of your pieces to grow a flower on your main girl token that you have in front of you, or you will get other cards that get a free flower token, and then you're going to trade the flower tokens for the memory tokens, which you collect sets of to try to get more points for specific cards out there that you also will want to get. So if you're collecting certain kinds of them or whatever, then it's obvious you're going to try to get those. But the thing is, that doesn't really fit together very well with the whole card collecting and tableau building. It's kind of a completely different mechanic that just then gives you bonus points because you put certain cards in your tableau. It's not bad, it just sometimes seems a bit incongruous. So those are my big negatives, along with now positives. The game's beautiful. The game is absolutely gorgeous. This game is a work of art. That's number one. Number two, I have fun when I'm playing this game. I love collecting the tableaus. I love collecting the panorama pictures. I think those are a lot of fun. I like getting the extra abilities. I love the ability to get the extra white pieces. That's phenomenal. I love the extra chest so I can hold extra the extra tokens, the extra wooden pieces from round to round. I like getting the extra hand size so you get more hands to choose, more cards to choose from to buy. All of that is fun. But the big negatives, some of them are kind of pretty big. That the biggest one being the fact that the way the board fits together is way too easy to move when you're picking up pieces. It's way too easy to jostle around. It's way too easy to accidentally change, and then nobody remembers how it was originally. And you just got to play with it how it is and keep going, and that can be frustrating and annoying. And then also, like I said, the whole thing with moving the nameless girl around and picking up the memory fragment cardboard chits, that felt a little like it did not fit with the main mechanics of the rest of the game. It's this completely extra optional turn phase at the beginning of every turn that for like the first half of the game nobody does. And then the second half of the game, people start being like, oh, okay, I have extra things. I'm going to start grabbing some of these now because maybe I think I might be able to buy that card in the future. Or I already bought that card and now I want to run around and steal some of the fragments and see what I can get. So, you know, it's kind of a mixed bag. This game, there's some stuff that's really good and the stuff that's not so good. So where am I at with this? You know what? Overall, I like it more than I dislike it. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10 stars. So 6 means I like it, but I got to be in the mood to play it. And that's a little tough because of how similar the main mechanic is to another game that I rate so much higher in my collection, that being 5 Tribes. So the big question is, would I play this game over 5 Tribes? And I think my answer is no. I mean, okay, yes, making those murals and those tableaus is fun, but it's not actually the main mechanic of the game. The main mechanic of the game is the same mechanic as in 5 Tribes, and 5 Tribes does it better. So I don't know that I would ever play this game over 5 Tribes. This might be going to the coal pile because I think now that I've played it enough to fully understand it, I don't know that I'm going to play it anymore. And it's not that it's a bad game, it's just that it's an okay game. It's a pretty good game. And it tried to do something, and I respect their attempt to try to do something that 5 Tribes already did, but maybe do it differently. It's just, I'm not sure it was that successful. But anyway, that's my opinion. But let's get a second opinion. Lynn, how many stars out of 10 would you give to Deja Vu Fragments of Memory?
5.
Oh, so Lynn's even lower than me. So, I suspected she was going to be somewhere near me. So that's 6 stars for me, 5 from Lynn. 5 is meh. Don't really like it, don't really hate it. It's just mediocre, middle of the road. So that's like a mildly positive rating from me and a mediocre rating from Lynn. So I do think now, knowing that she gives it a 5, that this is probably going to the coal pile. There you have it. Do you have any comments, questions, or concerns on Deja Vu Fragments of Memory or this video? Feel free to put them in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this review and tutorial and you'd like to see us do more like it, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Kaptain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And hit that little bell icon on my channel so you get updates every time I upload a new video. And until next time, game on.